Hi, my name is Jason, and welcome to myleadersource.com. We're going to be going over the Sumo Deadlift High Pull. I have Stephanie here to help me today with the demonstration. Remember, the Sumo Deadlift High Pull is used to produce strength and power in the hamstrings, glutes, and lower back. We're also going to get some work done with some strength in the upper body involving the shoulders and the biceps. So without further ado, we're going to get started. I'm going to have Stephanie demonstrate for me. Thank you again, Stephanie. We're going to demonstrate some key points in the Sumo Deadlift High Pull. To start, we're going to focus on the feet. When we start, our foot position should be nice and wide, outside shoulder width apart. Those toes should be pointed outward, taking a nice wide stance, making sure we're not going out too wide into any crazy yoga positions, but just wide enough to clear the shoulders and allow our hands to travel down in between our legs. We're going to go ahead and pull that bar nice and close. Notice she's reaching into the center of the bar with those thumbs. Once she has position, she's going to wrap the hands around. She's going to pull her chest up to make sure she has that good spinal extension. She's making sure that her knees are open, tracking the toes. As she does that, she's going to stand, creating a momentum with the hip, explosive hip, and then she's going to use those arms to help finish the move by pulling the bar up into this position, hence the high pull. She goes down into position, again, starting with those knees open, the toes out, that grip in the center of the bar, about thumb width apart. She's going to stand, explode at the hip, and those shoulders and elbows will lead up the rest of the movement. She'll come back to the hang and then drop down in position. So we're going to have her go to the side view so you guys can get a little better angle of this hip extension that we keep talking about. So she's going to assume that wide stance. We're making sure, again, just like with our cleans, that bar path is nice and straight. So she's making sure that bar is close to the body. She's got that nice upright chest position with a flat back. She's got those arms extended, and notice that hip high position as we have with a deadlift. Remember, we don't want to be squatted. So nice high hip position. She's going to drive with those hips, extend that hip, and then pull with her elbows, okay? Pull with her hands, excuse me. But the elbow will lead the movement. So as she stands, she's going to explode the hip one more time for me, and then follow up with those arms. Remember, you want the elbows to always lead. One more time for me, Steph. Back nice and tight, knees out, chest tall. Nice explosive movement. Remember, that hip is what's helping us get that bar up there so that those shoulders don't have to do a lot of the work. Thank you, Stephanie. Welcome to the common faults section. We're going to be going over some improper positions in the Sumo Deadlift High Pull and some issues that may cause you to get injured if you're not careful. This is potentially dangerous risk for the lower back because of that compromised open hip position, so we want to concentrate on good form. So when we talk about the foot position, first she's out in this wide position. Fairly simple enough. Toes are out, knees are out. What we don't want to see, we're going to go ahead and grab hold that bar and get you in a nice good position. Now, when we're down in position, what you may notice a lot of times when you're first getting used to this movement is a reliance on the quad and not really opening those knees up to allow it to sit in the hamstrings and glutes. So you'll see this compression of the knees together on the arms and this collapse of her structure due to that form. Go ahead and turn sideways and let's show that whole position again, just like that. So as you can see, because of this knee in position, her lower back will no longer be able to get into the extension necessary for the movement. She'll be relaxed on the bar because most of her weight will be too far forward. Okay? Let's bring you back on the other side. So what we want to do when we're talking about that knee in position, if we see it, we want to make sure that if the knees are in, we tell her to rotate those knees out, right? So she's going to push those knees open, really letting that weight get out to the hamstrings and the glutes. And she's going to pull that bar nice and close. Okay. Another thing we don't want to see in this position is a nice relaxed arm position. The reason we don't want to see this is because this movement is a speed movement from the hip. If we go yanking this bar off the ground in a loose position, can you give me a gentle one so you don't hurt yourself there? Notice there's slack, right? So her arms are bent to start. You can relax and stand up for just a second. Her arms are bent when they first start. When she explodes up, they're going to suddenly snap straight, which will cause friction in the movement and a real nice yanking in that lower back. So be careful with that arm bent position. We're going to go ahead and go to the top position. Remember, as we pull up, we're looking for that full hip extension. The elbow should lead the hands. Sometimes we'll see what we call the T-Rex arms, right? So she's going to come up, and you can't see, can't even do it. So we'll go one full motion, so you can actually do it in full motion, so we can use that speed. So she's going to come up and show us that bad T-Rex arm. Good. So the elbows are not getting high enough, and the hands are actually leading and getting on top of those elbows. What we want to see is that elbow end up in that high position with the hands underneath them. Remember, that bar is going to get just to the chin level. As you can see, nice strong position, great for the shoulders. She's back in the hang. Let's go ahead and turn onto that side position. Rounding of the spine. We saw a little bit of it with that knee tuck position, but we want to make sure we're not relaxed on the bar and that we have this spine in this rounded position. So as she's set, let's pull that bar in close. As you notice, if she's got a flat back, go ahead and round that thing out for me. So you'll see this quite often, especially as you start to fatigue when performing the movement for high repetitions. What you want to be wary of is to be cautious and really figure out the positioning you need to be in. If you have somebody there to help you and guide you, help them correct your form. So she's going to pull those shoulders back, flatten that back out, and she's going to bring the weight close to her body, and then she's going to pull from that position. As you can see, she has a nice tight spine in this position, and that will be advantageous for that lower back to make sure she's not getting too much stress. We want to send it to the hamstrings and glutes, not the lower back. Okay, give me one good one, Steph. Good. So as we can see, back is flat again, right? Show me that round one more time. Now flatten it out. There we go. She reaches that proper extension. Remember, some of the cues you have, that chest up nice and tall, right? Or turning your hip out sometimes works as well. So one more time up for me. Good position. Excellent job. And what we're going to do also is we talked about this being a deadlift. We're going to show just a squatted position. One of the common faults is actually squatting just a little too low. Now, it doesn't look that bad, but we're trying to get around those knees, and remember, the best way to get this bar to a point is a straight line, right? The fastest way is a straight line. So we don't want those knees crowding us, right? We don't want those knees crowding the bar. So if she drops her butt and actually goes into a squat, notice she can pull into good position, right? She has good spinal extension, but what you'll notice is look how far over the bar her knees are. When she goes to pull, that thing is going to want to eat her shins up. So what she wants to do is drive the hip up, so push the knees back, pull the weight close, and then extend from there. Pete, go ahead. Excellent. Good job. And that concludes our common faults. Thank you, Stephanie. Hope your back feels okay. So that concludes our Sumo Deadlift High Pull. Remember, in the Sumo Deadlift High Pull, you're going to be working the posterior chain. You're going to hit the glutes, hamstrings, a little bit of that lower back. We're also going to get the shoulders involved and the traps involved in that high pull section. Remember, perform it slowly. Make sure your back is in extension the entire time. Crucial to keep your back safe in this movement. The knees are going to be out in the bottom position, following the direction of the toes, and those hands are going to be placed directly in the center of the bar. Be safe when lifting, and thank you for joining us at myleadersource.com, and thank you very much, Stephanie.